One of the things that we talked about is before Sierra and Russell Wilson had like child number, what is this, 10? I don't know. Sierra was asking Future for like, I think it was like $20,000 a month. And Future is successful, but he's not that successful. She's Sierra and he's Russell Wilson. So it is apparent that they didn't need the money. It felt like it was a lesson.
When I found out I was pregnant, the first thing that came out of my mouth is, I don't care if you can support our child or now children, because I'll always be able to support my kids financially, whether we're together or not.
What's going on, guys? It's your girl, Eboni Elle, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of The Legacy Lounge. Today's episode is dedicated to celebrating all of the mothers. As you know, it is just about Mother's Day, and we are really excited to do something really big to honor moms, super moms, mompreneurs. And who better to do that with than my girl, Nisha B, founder of She's That Mom Toronto. Nisha, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
For those who don't know you and who aren't familiar with She's That Mom, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Nisha. I am the founder of She's That Mom TO. I am also the CEO at Nisha B Events. She's That Mom TO is a community that I created for mothers, just for them to feel seen and heard and celebrated within community together.
I love that. So you created She's That Mom, the community, for fostering community to help moms find their identity, to create a safe space where people can kind of just let go.
Yes.
I think also, like, in talking to you too, like some of the things that you mentioned is it's hard when you don't have time to find other mom friends. So to bring people together where they feel like, you know, hey, we can just hang out, we can let our hair down. What moment was it for you that cued, we need this in Toronto?
For me, I feel like the moment was not being able to find it myself. I searched the internet for moms that were similar to me, but I wasn't able to find anybody who looked like me or had the aesthetic that I have. And the aesthetic that I have is not a picture perfect aesthetic, right? I decided that I was going to create that community for myself, for all of the moms that show up every day, but we're not type A moms. We're not white background, perfect moms. So I created it.
As a mompreneur of two, my question to you is, what are the real realities of showing up for both your business and your family? Like, how are you balancing the two?
So the honest answer is there really isn't any way to balance the two. Every day is kind of different. For me, some days I'm super present with my kids, and some days I'm super present with my businesses. And that's just how it goes.
I love that. And when you first started, because you've always been entrepreneurial, you've gone the career route and side hustle, then full-time career, full-time entrepreneurship. What were some of the challenges that you encountered trying to find that perfect balance?
Finding the balance. To be completely honest, finding the balance was the biggest challenge. And the guilt of not being present for my kids and the guilt of not being present for my business, because it's really hard to do both of them at the same time. Unfortunately, once you're really present with your kids at some times, your business kind of falls to the wayside, which is fine. But for me, finding the balance meant while my kids are at school, since I don't work a full-time job, my full-time job is working in my business. So the kids are at school from 8:30 till 2:30. So 8 o'clock till 4, that's business time. Once 4 o'clock comes, we're closing that laptop. There's no more business. Once the kids are at home, it is present with the kids. Once they go to sleep for the night, either if I have the strength, the energy to go back to business, then I do that. If not, that's the time that it's with my partner.
How do you starve off the temptation of going beyond those boundaries that you've set? Like, you sound really good at it right now. And to some moms, you're like, oh, she's got it all figured out.
And I don't.
Right? But like, how do you get rid of that desire? Like, if you're working on something, like one of your events is coming up, you know, it's 5 o'clock, you haven't completed all the things you've set out for the day. Do you just shut the laptop and tuck it under your like sheets? Like, what do you do to make sure that you don't deviate from those block times?
It's really hard, honestly. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's really hard especially when you have an event coming up, to say, no, I'm done. But my kids need me. And that's what makes me close my laptop and I don't shut off my phone, but put my phone away. And, my kids need me to be present. They need to have dinner. They need to bathe. And yes, their other parent is there, but they want mom at the end of the day. So that's the way that I shut it off. You just have to. You have to like override the guilt that you feel for not showing up for your business in this time, but structure matters.
I like that. Would you say you have a system outside of the block times? Is there any other system or boundary that you're following now to keep that structure?
Yes, absolutely. My calendar. If it's not, everybody knows. My friends know, my kids know, my family knows. If it's not on my calendar, it's not real. It's not happening. We're going to forget about it. So my calendar, I have to put everything on it, whether it's the kids' extracurriculars, whether it's I want to make content today, whatever it is, it's going on my calendar. And it took me a while to actually utilize the calendar the way that I'm supposed to, but we're there now and it's flowing. It's really good. Yeah.
Because you mentioned calendar, I feel so called to share this story.
Yeah.
Nisha doesn't know that this story is coming and she won't have an answer prepared or anything like that. So this is going to be unique. There was once upon a time where I asked Nisha, like, what's your 5-year plan? And Nisha said, girl, 5 years? Like, that's too far. That's too far ahead. And at this time, Nisha is a multifaceted business owner. And at that time, she hadn't mastered the calendar, right? So it's like, okay, like, am I on the phone? Am I talking on WhatsApp? Like, am I doing all of these different things when I should be spending that time? And there was a point in time because like Ken is at the age now where she is definitely chatty and she would chat back too. And so she's been vocal about like you're never here. And we were talking a little bit about that. First, before I get into the rest of the story, how did you navigate that? Like with the kids saying like, you're never home. Like, what are you doing? Why do you have to leave?
Listen, my kids want expensive things. Okay. So the way I navigated that was, you want those Uggs for Christmas? I have to go out and work for it. And my work isn't traditional work, right? So usually kids see their parents go off to work in the morning when they're going off to school. For me, it's a lot of evenings and weekends, a lot of weekends that I'm gone. If you want things, if you want to have that special cereal that you want, for example, or she's into makeup and skincare and fashion, and if you want those things, you want me to buy that Shein cart at 8 years old? I have to work for that money. So they now understand that like, yeah, mommy's not here all the time, but she has to go out so that we can live the lifestyle that we live, the one that I've given them that,
Crocs and all.
Yeah, all of them, all the things.
So going back to the story, right? We're navigating these conversations and we're talking about this 5-year plan and Nisha's kind of like, I don't know really what you want from me, Ebony. Do you know the story that I'm talking about?
I don't know where you're going, but I remember us having this conversation.
And I remember asking her, like, as a mom, I feel like there are precious years. All of the years with your children are special, right? But there are precious years where your children actually want to see you. Like they want to hang out with you. They want to jump on your bed beside you. They want to put their feet up on you. And then there's a time where they don't want to do that. And so as a mompreneur, it's easy for you to be like, I'm hustling. But then I asked her to what end? And I remember her just being like quiet. Like, I'm like, no, like, to what end though? Like, you're doing all of this and in 5 years, do you get to spend more time with your kids? Do you get to take them around the world? Like, what is it? And I remember you really like pondering on that. So awkward question, but like not necessarily getting into the 5-year plan, but with all that you've established in your businesses now, putting those systems in place, what does that outcome look like for you to change the life of your children beyond stuff?
So first and foremost, right now, my kids are very excited to be able to work with me. Both of them, my son and my daughter, say, I want to be just like you when I grow up. And that like warms my heart because I know that I'm doing something right. Like I am showing my kids exactly what I would have wanted for them, right? They come to work with me, hopefully in not 5 years, because Kennedy will only be, I'm bad at math, she's 8 now, 9. So that's what, 14? So maybe in like a few years, she'll be able to take over my business. You know, maybe it's something that we can do together. If that's not what she's interested in, I hope that in 5 to 10 years, I am at the point where both my businesses kind of run themselves and me showing up is a special treat.
I love that. I think it's important for mompreneurs to have an exit strategy. Like, it doesn't mean that you have to retire fully. It doesn't mean that you have to stop what you're doing. Earlier in the season, we were talking to another entrepreneur, a dad who was like, I was just able to take 2 months off, right? And I think that's huge because that means you have a system in place whereby you can spend that time. If you have the opportunity to go to Japan with your family, you don't want to be like, well, no, I can't because I have bookings and I have to do this and that. So I think that's really important. Now, what's unique about you is obviously you are in a relationship, you know, it's a 2-parent household, but there are a lot of moms who are in your community who are actually single moms, right? I think that you have this unique thing because what most people don't know about you is you picked up and went to Calgary and you were a single mom in Calgary. Tell us a little bit about that journey and how you kept things together during that time.
I think that I have experience with the single momhood, that kind of lifestyle, only because, not even because of Calgary, but transparently, there was a time in my relationship where I was a single parent in a relationship, right? And that's a conversation for another day. But moving to Calgary, it wasn't that hard for me because I already felt like, you know, I had that under my belt, how to be a single parent.
How did you navigate it?
How did I navigate it? Honestly, the type of person that I am is I just do it. I did as much research as I could before going. And the way I think is I'm not a tree. I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna do it. I'm not planted there. If I don't like it, I'm gonna come back home. And as you see, I'm sitting here with you, so I'm back home.
What were some of your biggest challenges? Like, you had familiarity with single momhood, but being in Calgary now where you're physically alone, what were some of the challenges you encountered?
That was a challenge. Being physically alone and like 100% solo parenting, as well as not fully understanding how the expenses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because Calgary is expensive.
And people don't tell you that. They make it seem as though it's so affordable, particularly with the rent, but there's so many other costs that I didn't take into consideration that I would have to pay. And it almost felt like, transparently, I was paying more in Calgary than I was paying here in Toronto. So I said, why am I going to struggle by myself here in Calgary without my family and friends? I could do that in Toronto with my family and friends.
So, I love that. Okay, so you mentioned something, and I think this is really important because it is Mother's Day, but there's so much to unpack from Mother's Day, and I think there's a lot of single moms who don't have support, who are just figuring it out. There are some single moms who you know, they have the support, everything is working, they're co-parenting, it's healthy. And then there are people who have a co-parent that may not be the biological partner for their children. But then when I speak to both sides, this conversation of financial support comes up, and it comes up in so many different breaths. You and I have had this conversation and we've unpacked this. And one of the things that we talked about is before Sierra and Russell Wilson had like child number, what is this, 10? I don't know. Sierra was asking Future for like, I think it was like $20,000 a month. And Future is successful, but he's not that successful. And common math would tell you that he's not that successful. And it became apparent that she was doing it not because she's Sierra and he's Russell Wilson. So it is apparent that they didn't need the money. It felt like it was a lesson, right? And you had that experience where you were kind of parenting on your own while still in a relationship. How did you navigate that? And were you ever expectant of financial support? It's different when you're in a relationship because you're expecting something of your partner, but when you're not, or when you're parenting on your own, especially if you make that choice, were you expectant?
So this is actually funny that you asked me this because I think I'm a little different than maybe most women when it comes to this topic, because when I found out I was pregnant, the first thing that came out of my mouth is, I don't care if you can support our child, or now children, financially, because I'll always be able to support my kids financially. Always. I always got my kids, right? What matters most to me is that you're present.
Yeah.
You're active, and the kids know you, whether we're together or not. You're going out. Because my parents were divorced, and what I remember the most, my dad got me anything I wanted. I was spoiled. But what I remember the most is
Still are.
what I remember most is going to the park with my dad, kicking the ball around, playing board games with him, like wrapping our Christmas presents together. Those are the things that I remember. So I don't care if you can financially support. I mean, I care, but it's not the top priority for me for you to financially support the kids, because I can do that always.
So your biggest thing is being present. And I think like when we honor Mother's Day, it's a celebration of mothers in all facets, aunties, community leaders, but it's also a celebration of fathers who play mom. There are a lot of fathers who play mom who don't get that rap because the mother's not there, either due to health issues, loss, or just because they moved on and they decided that they didn't want to take up that life. And so I think when you talk about financial support, it helps, but I think I agree with you in that presence, right? And that experience, building those memories is super duper important. What's one practical tip you'd give a mom who's in a situation where they don't have that financial support? What would you tell them to stabilize?
Can I just say before you say that, just to touch on your other point, I have that now. So it was never a concern to me. Like, I'm out, I'm working every single day, I'm doing something, and I can't take my kids to school every day. I can't bathe them every day. That's what daddy does, right? So it's that present portion. And I want to be able to shout him out for doing that as well, because he is a very active parent and a very like father who plays the mother role as well. And I feel like that should be recognized. So one practical tip to give a mother who's
not getting that financial support but needs to stabilize.
Use your resources. And when I say use your resources, I'm not saying go on Ontario Works. I'm saying use your community. I'm saying use the resources that the government gives you for things like this. To reach out to somebody like yourself who can help you with a financial budget, a realistic financial budget. And what I will say is, because we went over my budget and I was so nervous, and I was like, she's gonna eat me up because my finances are not in order, but somebody who is going to be non-judgmental to your situation. And I can truly say that that is what I experienced from you. And this is not a shameless plug, but love my girl for what she's done for me. Use your resources, whether it's the government, whether it's people tap into your network.
I like that.
Yeah.
And in the past, well, let's be honest, in the past, in the present, and in the future, what is something that helps you stay mentally grounded when you're in a tight spot financially?
Prayer and trusting the process, knowing that God is walking with me in every season of my life. I know that this too shall pass every single time, and it does. And I make it out stronger every time, and I'm more equipped the next time that it happens.
Reflecting on your seasons, you transitioned from working a job to being a full-time entrepreneur, which is hard for not just like a mom, not just a dad, like it's hard for anybody. And so that adjustment and watching you move and like use discernment, like the girls are going out to eat. I'm going to be honest with you. I might join you for company, but I'm not joining you on that bill. Right. And I think that this is really, really important. Especially because so many parents are struggling jointly, singularly, like people are struggling a lot. And I think having that routine that stabilizes you when you are financially tight, strapped, stressed, right? Especially when you're not just working for you anymore, and your mindset you can't afford to have your mind flustered because you're looking out for other beings, right? And so being able to leverage your community, to your earlier point, leverage the network, leverage the programs that are available to you, leveraging a financial professional who can support you so that you can get the job done. And really getting the job done is making sure that your kids are fed, you're rested, and everything is well, right? Happy. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so in closing, what's one message you want to leave with moms about balancing your family's financial legacy with your children's memories, being present, building, and still creating joy?
So building financial wealth with your family is very important, 100%. And I say that wholeheartedly because, of course, we all want to have money passed down to our children. But that's not the only important thing. Being very present with your kids is even more important than financial things, in my opinion. So that's the tip that I would pass down, is to make sure that you're present. You're working, but you're still present, because that's what they're going to remember, is having a mom that was there. Yeah.
I think, yes, to your point, you can give them Uggs. They'll appreciate it.
Yeah.
But then they'll look back and be like, in between all those Uggs, it feels like a gift because you're not here. So I think that's really important, remembering that there is a balance to financial legacy and memory building. Because at the end of the day, as Beanie Man once said, memories are all you have. Right? It's the only thing you have.
Memories.
Right. No, they don't live like people do. They always remember you.
Yeah.
And so whether things are good or bad, it's
Yeah.
just the memories that you have. This is the second time I've quoted Beanie Man like this, and it is insane, but it is realistic. And I think with parenting, this is the thing that you have to remember. So I want to give you your flowers before we end our episode.
Thank you.
To say just thank you for being an awesome mom. But most importantly, for opening up a community where moms can come as they are, right? Non-judgmental, no bullying, high vibrational. I'm really, really happy that you stuck with that, because it can get hard doing such a thing, and you just keep at it. So
thank you so much,
No
honestly.
problem.
No,
problem.
for real, thank you.
You're welcome.
Not often do moms get the appreciation that they deserve. So I really appreciate you thanking me in that way.
Of course. Now, before we wrap up, where can people find you to connect with you?
Of course. So if you want to connect with me, I'm on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. She's That Mom TO. That's TO, not two. And for my business page for event planning, it's Nisha B Events.
Perfect. Well, we're so glad that you're able to tune in, and we hope that for somebody in your life who is a matriarch, whether that's your own mother or somebody who has acted like that, even the mom of the group, take a moment to shout them out, send them this video to let them know that you're thinking of them and that you're proud of them. And if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe, click the bell so that you are notified for the next episode. And until we see you then, we say bye for now.